Good evening, Belize, and welcome to XTV's news broadcast for Friday, March 21, 2025. Making the headlines tonight, U.S. fugitive wanted for possession of child pornography caught in Belize. Screwworm spreads through Belize. Cases ascend to 33. And Aurelio laid to rest in La Ceiba, Honduras. Tribute in Belize happens March 25th. We'll take our first break and return with the news in detail.
Come the banquet
Welcome back with your news. I am Drea Espinosa. The United States Embassy in Belize today confirmed that Gregory Scott Roth, a U.S. fugitive who was last seen in Placentia on Thursday this week, has been captured. A reward was being offered for anyone who could provide information about his whereabouts that would lead to his arrest. Roth was wanted in Bexar, San Antonio, Texas, in relation to 11 counts of possession of child pornography. Roth was a medical director who was terminated from his position when he was charged in 2022 at the age of 65 with one count of possession of child pornography. He was then released on bond of $100,000. In 2023, he agreed to surrender his Texas medical license in lieu of further disciplinary proceedings. It is believed he was traveling in Belize using an alias. The New World screwworm is slowly spreading throughout Belize as the Belize Agricultural Health Authority, BAHA, and the Ministry of Agriculture have now confirmed 33 cases among cattle, pigs, dogs, sheep, and a horse. In a joint release today, BAHA and the ministry reported that there are 27 cases in Toledo, 4 in Cayo, and 1 in the Belize district, and another in Orange Walk. The public is reminded to employ preventative measures, especially the consistent inspection of animals, the curing of wounds with approved larvicides, early notification, and the controlled movement of animals. Currently, animal movement control points are set up in Sandhill, Bullet Tree Falls, and Halakte. Cattle being transported must have a New World screwworm inspection certificate and movement permit. The public is also being urged not to import animals through a non-established point of entry. Dr. Roxana Alvarez, the technical director for animal health at BAHA, spoke about their response.
We were well prepared, and we were expecting infestation because it had progressively been moving across Central America and heading northward, right? So we set our plans in motion from a long time ago, and in November and December of last year, we were carrying out awareness sessions in our high-risk zone, and our high-risk zone was a 20-mile span, a 20-mile radius inside of the Belize border. Primarily Cayo and Toledo districts are our high-risk zone or were our high-risk zone. So it wasn't necessarily unexpected, and people have become aware of it since, or became aware of it since last year, right? And that is why we were notified in time. And we've been managing to carry out a lot of work within the affected communities. Of course, that work has changed slightly with the past detections in Cayo and further north, right? In Belize District, being the last one, of course, and then prior to that, they're in Juak District. The case in the Belize District is isolated as well as the case in the north. And both are up to now only isolated cases, and we are working to try to maintain that isolation, to try to ensure that it doesn't spread rapidly, and as much as possible to preserve all of our animals intact. In Toledo, we have been treating animals and we continue to do so. We've been creating awareness with people. People have been notifying, and we've been finding, little by little. Unfortunately, our neighbors have a very heavy infestation load, and that spills over into Belize.
Anyone who contravenes the regulations regarding the NWS fly can be fined up to $5,000 on conviction or face a fine and be imprisoned. Cases of suspect larval infections can be reported to Baja's Animal Health Department or via WhatsApp at 670-7003. The emblematic and iconic world-renowned Garifuna Nation ambassador Honduran Aurelio Martinez, 55, was laid to rest today. During 2 nights since the day of Aurelio's passing in a plane crash on Monday, March 17, a tribute was held in his honor at ODECO, the Organization of Community Ethnic Development in his hometown of La Ceiba. His heartfelt farewell at 10 this morning started with a solemn procession through the main streets of La Ceiba to San Isidro Cathedral, where a mass was celebrated. The entire ceremony featured singing, dancing, and drumming. Attendees in the thousands lined the streets. Mourners from all over Honduras and small delegations from Belize, Costa Rica, and Guatemala attended. Others from different parts of the world were unable to make it in time. After the ceremony, there was another procession of over 2 miles from the cathedral to the Ceibeñas Peace Garden Cemetery in the eastern sector of La Ceiba, where he was laid to rest in the afternoon. The Belize delegation, whose trip was sponsored by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the National Institute of Culture and History, delivered a message on behalf of Belize. It was read by April Martinez in English and Spanish.
The Prime Minister of Belize, John Briceño, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Culture, Francis Fonseca, and the people of Belize express their sincerest condolences to the family and friends and many thousands of fans of the great musician Aurelio Martinez Suazo, a man of generosity and warmth. Aurelio, along with Andy Palacio and Paul Nabor of Belize, elevated paranda and other forms of Garifuna music to the world acclaim. Their efforts, along with the others, led the United Nations to proclaim the Garifuna language, music, and dance as a masterpiece of the oral and intangible heritage of humanity. Belize is present here today in La Ceiba, Honduras, strong and saddened with a delegation of government officials, musicians, NGO leaders, and community members. We are with you to celebrate the life of Belize's adopted son, Aurelio.
The Garifuna community in Honduras has said they will propose that March 17 be declared Aurelio Martinez Day. Here in Belize, it has now been confirmed that a memorial service and tribute will be held at 4 p.m. on Tuesday, March 25 at the Bliss Center for the Performing Arts in Belize City. The lineup of artists is still being finalized, and interested artists are being asked to contact Niche to be a part of the program. A man identified as 21-year-old Floyd McFadden was killed in a shooting that left 2 others injured after midnight Thursday. McFadden was behind the wheel of his Ford Fusion when on approaching First Choice Pharmacy on Cemetery Road, he was targeted by 2 men on a motorcycle. Traveling with him were 20-year-old Troy Gentle and 21-year-old Dion Gladden. McFadden sped off but lost control of the vehicle, which crashed into a drain. He died at the scene while the 2 other men were injured. One of the men were treated and released, while the other remains hospitalized in stable condition. Several expended shells were recovered from the scene. In other news, Honorable Kevin Bernard has been returned as the Minister of Health and Wellness by Prime Minister John Briceño. At the launch today of the Belize Health Sector Strategic Plan, during his speech, Honorable Bernard joked, "I'm back." He said he is looking forward to completing projects and plans for the ministry and revealed to the media that he will pursue a master's degree in public health.
I have been able to learn a lot as well, and I myself, I say it publicly here, are looking at enrolling in a master's program in public health because I really like the ministry. I think it's very important. It touches a lot of people, and I think that the plans that we have set out in the ministry and the many achievements that we have been able to make goes a long way. And this strategic plan that you see we launched today is a compilation of those work. And I think that as the minister, I want to see that we could achieve universal health coverage. I want to ensure that we could bring better service delivery to our Belizean people in healthcare. I want to ensure that as we roll out NHI, that our Belizean people are benefiting from these services. We want to see more improved facilities across the country, and that's my goal. I want to ensure that whenever I'm placed in a position, I always say, let us leave the place better than you found it.
After the break, pastor detained with fishermen for cocaine possession freed. Stay with us.
Teléfono 22 32 87 6.
During a ceremony in Belize City today, the Ministry of Health and Wellness launched the Health Sector Strategic Plan 2025 to 2034. The plan maps the ministry's approach to health services in the country and aims to ensure that patients can receive healthcare services that are affordable and easily accessible, even in underserved communities, and that they are treated with respect and empathy. Honorable Kevin Bernard admitted that there were some hiccups during his last term, particularly when certain medication stocks were depleted a few times, but he said that the goal for this term is to tackle such issues.
We've been able to try to make a little things different as well. For example, when we looked at the option, before I answer that question, when we looked at the removal of secondary care fees, for example, it is about giving access to health care. When you look at the rollout of NHI, it's about making primary care affordable, accessible to the Belizean people. Going into this term now, in our big agenda is to ensure that there is telehealth and telemedicine. We want to ensure that we reach the underserved populations. We want to ensure that where we are not able to build a facility, that we can serve those people in some way or the other. And talking about right to health, every Belizean have the right to access health care at the primary care level, at the secondary care, and at the tertiary care level. And coupled with that is, of course, is the need for expansion and improvement in human resources, getting more human resources to be able to cover these gaps. But at the same time, I always make the plea to our nurses, our doctors, our healthcare professionals across the country, including those who operate at the gates, the security, the attendants, that we treat people with respect, we treat people with empathy, because at the end of the day, the shoe can turn in any one of us. And so, if a sick goes to the hospital, they go there for a reason. They don't go there because they just want to visit the hospital. People visit these facilities because they need help, they need service. And I always say that it's always good when you give people great service, people will feel much better, they will respond much better, and then there will be less negativity. Of course, there's always the challenges of issues. We faced couple challenges in the past term with the issue of stockouts at that time. Of course, the supply chain was disrupted. We have been trying our very best to ensure that those things improve.
Today, Honorable Kevin Bernard told the media that for his second term at the helm of the Ministry of Health and Wellness, there will be special focus on the wellness side of the ministry, and specifically on mental health. He said the ministry will analyze Belize's mental health policy and seek to strengthen it. He added that there will be an emphasis on implementing programs focused on mental health and not simply focus on institutionalized care.
Mental health is a key factor in this new government term, in this ministry, and to ensure that, in fact, Dr. Drea yesterday spoke about the priority and the re-establishment and looking at the new mental health policy and strengthening that health policy, because it's critical. We have to address mental health issues in this country. There are several things that we are working on in terms of not just to focus on the institutionalization, but to look at the programs and activities that we are able to, we need to do. We have to ensure that the wellness side of our ministry start to become more active in terms of making people understand and be part of the different programs, because mental health is not just the notion of people being, as you will say, belongs in a home, but it's about many of us walk around this country, and you might never know what is affecting him or her. And so we have to ensure that people have access to seek attention, to seek services, and that's what we're going to do in this ministry, to ensure that mental health remain the focal point in our agenda. And in this strategic plan, that is highlighted there, where people have access to the services. And trust me, we at the ministry are very cognizant that there's an issue that exists in this country, not only in Belize, but across the world. And COVID-19 actually brought that out even more. And so we have to ensure that that remains as a top priority for the things that we need to do in this country.
An aspect of the health sector strategic plan is providing affordable healthcare services across the country. Ministry of Health and Wellness Honorable Kevin Bernard spoke of what is being done in the public sector, but added that the private sector needs to do their part as well. As he says, many complain about the cost of accessing healthcare services at private healthcare facilities. We asked if he believes that the cost of private healthcare in Belize is too expensive.
You have to look at the private sector because the private sector is also part of the health system. It's not just the public sector. And the private sector also needs to be looked at because we have people who complain. You go to a private sector facility and one night and you're paying almost $10,000. I mean, it's healthcare access in the private sector is very high, and so it's a challenge that we have to look at. I don't want to say what is the cost or these people incur, these private sector incur to provide service, but I can tell you that when you look at the region, when you look at it's a known fact that sometimes you feel that in the private sector the prices are just too high. Now they have their own accounting and formula that they use to how they put their costs to their services. So I cannot speak to that. All I'm saying is that we need to find ways how we can make healthcare more affordable in this country, and as a government we have been able to ensure that we reduce some of these things, the burden, and so that people have access to healthcare, especially our primary and secondary care services.
In court news, a pastor who is also a taxi operator, Mark Anthony Humes from Borough Boom, who was arrested and charged for the possession of 1,137 grams of cocaine with intent to supply on Tuesday, has been freed from police custody. He was arrested along with 6 fishermen from the north. He retained the services of attorney Lyndon Jones, who explained that Humes had been stopped by police while he was on charter by the fishermen from Belize City to Orange Walk. Jones shared that upon further investigation, the police determined that Humes had nothing to do with the prohibited substance and withdrew the charges from him. The 6 fishermen are still detained. After the break, following a huge elections win, would Kevin Bernard consider contesting for party leadership? Stay tuned.
20 years ago, we built a company
A new Central Medical Stores CMS building will be built to house all medications and medical supplies for the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Back in 2023, Minister Kevin Bernard told the media that the new supply facility will also have a modern inventory system that will be used to oversee and control the distribution of goods and medications, which he said will ensure greater accountability for the goods they have and a safer working environment for staff. Today, he provided an update.
Well, the same Central America Store was already on the way prior to the elections. I know that through the Ministry of Finance and Economic Development, there were plans that we had identified. There has been need. I said this even in an interview long before, that there is a need for us to build a proper Central America Store that will have the necessary systems in place. And because right now, as you know, Jules, many of the suppliers house our supplies, and Central America Store is limited in spacing. So the point is that we want to centralize this, so it is being proper managed as well. We'll put in all the necessary softwares that will come with warehousing, accounting, distribution software, so that it is properly managed and works along with the BHIS system. And so that at the end of the day, it's much more a control environment that will have the more updated systems that will be able to manage and track these supplies and medical equipment that come into the country.
In political news, Kevin Bernard was elected as the back-to-back area representative for Orange Walk East during last week's general elections. He was elected by a huge margin, receiving 84% of the votes cast. This represented the largest victory in the North by any politician. With this recent big win, plus his previous success in municipal politics, would Bernard consider contesting for party leadership when that time comes? Here's what he had to say.
We all have ambitions, but I believe in one thing. I have always said this to myself, and my family have always said, we do it with humility. You start from somewhere. I started off seeing that I want to make a change in my community, where I started as a councillor. I decided that I think I could have done much more, and so I served as mayor for 3 consecutive terms. I then thought that, you know what, I think I believe that I can do even much more, and serving in the capacity as an area representative. And I want to thank the great people of Orange Walk East for having given me that opportunity, and I have been now re-elected. My plan is to continue to work for the People's United Party, to continue to work for the Orange Walk East constituency, and we will cross that bridge when we get there at some point. Of course, as I said, as long as the people of Orange Walk East puts me here, I'm prepared to work for the benefit of them, for the benefit of Belize, and I know that people have been asking me about that, but for me that's not the priority at this stage. That is not my priority. My priority is to continue to work for people of Orange Walk East. We will see where that trajectory takes us, or where it takes me at some point. We have great people in this party that can lead this party at some point down the road. For now, I'm focused on the fact that John Briseno is our Prime Minister, he's our leader, and as long as he's leading this party, I'm there to support.
Bernard was also asked if he feels that the fact that Prime Minister John Briseno is from Orange Walk Town paves the way for more party leaders coming from out district.
When you look around the country in the PUP, you could look at every area, and there are people that can lead this party. Once and whenever the Prime Minister decides to leave politics. I mean, you have great people in the West, you have great people in the South, you have people in the North, and of course in Belize City, there are great people that can lead this party. As the Prime Minister mentioned, that he has a good bench of individuals that can at some point take on the mantle of leadership. But I don't think that at the end of the day, it's not about whether Belize City or Belize District is the strength of the political power within any party. I think that it's up to the delegates of a party, whenever that time comes around, who will decide who they want to lead the party whenever that time comes.
The live Bolito draws, which were conducted out of Downtown Plaza in Belize City, will be relocated to the Emporium Plaza in Belmopan beginning Sunday, April 27. The drawing of the Belize government lottery games also includes the ordinary lottery and jackpot lottery. The reason for the relocation is that the administrative office and the staff of the Belize Government Lotteries Limited (BGLL) are located in Belmopan. Therefore, the relocation is to increase efficiency and, quote, reduce the risk for the suspension of any future drawings due to vulnerability of hurricanes and flooding in Belize City, end quote. BGLL says anyone who wishes to attend the live drawings will still be welcome to do so in Belmopan. And the Atlantic Bank Limited has donated 2 motorcycles to the Belize Police Department, specifically to the Belmopan precinct in Belize City. The bank routinely donates to the community, and Atlantic's managing director, Gregory Mahia, said that such initiatives are a core part of who they are as a corporate citizen, adding, the quote, the development, health, and safety of our communities are priorities we take seriously. We understand that building a better future requires collaboration, and we see it as our responsibility to partner with our communities and their stakeholders to make Belize better. Whether through initiatives that support education, health, or community safety, we're committed to making a positive impact that extends far beyond our business, end quote. Atlantic's marketing manager, Tanya Tillett, explained that the precinct reached out to the bank requesting assistance. Tillett said that it is not the first time the bank is assisting the Belize Police Department.
The police department reached out to us and they expressed the need for additional resources to help them patrol the area. So we were happy to respond and to provide them with 2 motorcycles. So that was the Balama precinct. And we were happy to, take up that offer, and we provided them with the 2 motorcycles. As a bank, we support the community in many ways, not just by supporting, the law enforcement teams, but also we do culture, we support culture, sports, whether it's health as well, people for sports, if teams need to travel, or, tournaments, we support youth, support women. There are a lot of things that we do as a bank, to give back to our community. So the police, that is just one initiative. I mean, we've supported the police department for years on different activities that they've worked on, different initiatives. That's just one of many.
And with that, we have come to the end of our newscast. The repeat can be viewed on the station later tonight at 9 and again Monday at midday. Join us again Monday for another news broadcast. I am Drea Espinosa. Have a safe and enjoyable weekend.